Welcome to Three Devs and a Maybe, the podcast series for beginner web developers and general web enthusiasts. Now, introducing your show hosts, Michael Budd, Fraser Hart, Lewis Keynes, and Ed Mann.
Good afternoon, good evening, and hello to both people listening to this podcast this evening. This is Three Devs
Hi,
and
Mum.
Maybe.
Hi, Mum.
Oh, so it's our mums now. I thought it was my mum and Lewis's mum. It was up to 4 now. Then all our mums listening to this now. Awesome.
My mum's listening to it in the background. She's kind of like cooking. I think.
Cooking stuff now.
She's
cool.
half listening.
Yeah.
There's a roast on the way for me too. Sunday evening podcast followed by roast. Can't beat it.
That is a good combo.
Can you hear my
See,
TV?
I don't even know if.
Sorry, my TV was on in the background.
I don't even know if my mum listens to this. I think she told me that she listened once.
Yeah, I haven't.
And then, ever since then, I don't think she's tech savvy enough to keep up with podcasts.
Well,
so yeah.
I think my mum's exact words were, "How are you getting on with your radio cast?"
Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cool, though, because that kind of legitimises it by
nice.
saying on a radio show.
Yeah, it actually boosts it up a bit, doesn't it, to say it's on the radio?
Yeah, she did. She once asked for poppadoms in a Chinese restaurant as well.
Oh dear!
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Did you get them? That's the question. That's the answer. Sorry. No, that's
she
the question.
did. They thought it was brilliant. They went out and got them. No, they didn't really.
Yeah,
but
that
they
is
done.
very much. Yeah, a star service. They go out and get poppadoms in a Chinese restaurant. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So I'm the nominated host this week.
You
so
are the host
I'm
runner.
the one that gets to go around the room and say hi to everyone. And I'll tell you what. Actually, this is a groundbreaking show because we've defeated all odds here, and we are actually all here.
We are.
Four of
Hello.
us.
I'm very excited about it as well.
Hello.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Fraser Hart is here.
Hey.
Hello, Fraser.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm very well,
Good.
thank you.
Nice one. Ed Mann, how are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you. Just sipping on a lovely Brewdog 5 a.m. red ale. Tastes nice.
Oh yeah, I'm currently sipping on a Tribute Cornish Pale Ale.
Very nice.
Sipping on my favourite beer at the moment, which is Estrella. I don't know if you got.
Oh, Estrella.
Nice. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Yeah.
And Mr. Green Party himself, Mr. Bud.
Yeah, I'm drinking a
How
cup
are
of
you,
tea.
sir? Nice to have you back.
Thank you very much.
How's Tricks?
I'm good. Tricks are good. A little bit calmer than happened for a long time. So
Good.
yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Should we start?
And are we in a
Bud?
Yeah, I think we
Chat
should,
with me.
because, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. Are you in the new house yet, or is it not far off? Or?
We are moving in on the 2nd of May. It's official. You heard it here first.
And it'll be here the first time that people say it was a lie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But it won't be completely finished. But we're hoping it'll be completely finished by end of May. So, but no, that's a big milestone to get in. And obviously, all my exams are in May as well. So it should be good to get in and just be able to do some revision from there as well. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Your lectures are all done now. Am I right in saying that? That's all.
Yeah, exactly. I've got one left, which is just like a revision lecture. But yeah, I'll never do any other lectures again.
How did that feel? What was your last lecture like?
It felt like, even though I'm working full time now, it felt like, when you break up for the summer holidays when you're at school.
Oh, you've got that experience again. Kids are off on Easter holidays now, aren't they? And you just feel that sense of, I remember that summer holiday, 6 weeks of just doing whatever you wanted.
It feels amazing, I'm not going to lie. And obviously my final year project is something that I want to do, and I've got like over a year to do that. So yeah, it's very, very cool. Also, I've got exams, but I'm revising every weekend now. So
what are the exams on?
So I will have the computer security one, and I will have cognitive neural networks, and the computer graphics and animation. So just the three. I'll say just the three. It's quite a lot.
No, that does sound. There's a lot of buzzword. A lot of buzz in those words, and very technical.
Yeah, they're pretty intense. So, but yeah, I've got enough time hopefully to settle down and revise now.
So how soon after you move in can we come around and have a couple of beers and go camping in your back garden?
Well, we've got the big,
I have
big
a date
event lined
predicted.
up, haven't we? Yeah. I don't know if anything will happen before then, to be honest with you.
What I think
Just because
Fraser's trying to
I
say
need
is,
to.
can he just sleep in your back garden?
Can he move in? Yeah,
can he move it? It's pretty much what he's trying to. I think he's got his London life, and at the weekends he just wants to come down to the countryside.
He needs to go down to the country. Yeah,
exactly.
Did you complete your pure water run yesterday, Fraser?
I did. I had to walk for a little bit of it.
Did you deeply regret it afterwards?
I'm hurting really badly today. Yeah, because I've not been for a run since you and me went for a run, Michael. Which was that was 6-7 weeks ago. So I've not done anything since then. And it was, yeah. So I said to my mate Craig, that you guys know as well, I was like, do you fancy going for a run later on today? We'll go out for an hour and go for a beer or something. He's like, yeah, no worries. So I was like, well, you plan a route out and I'll come down from London and we'll go for a run. So I turn up and he's like, we're going to do a run around Bure Water. I'm like, okay, it's quite far.
Bearing in mind that's predicted like 5 hours to actually do that.
Yeah, we did it in just under 3, but it's 14 miles in total we did. And it was off-road, and my knees hurt. That's quicker than me and my missus cycled round it. No, it's not. That can't be right. Because we were going painfully slow. Like, because it's 14 miles, we did it in 3 hours.
What's that noise?
Don't rub it in.
And I had to run for a bit. I had to walk for a bit of it as well. So we got to the end, and then, I was having a chat with Craig, and he's like, how are you feeling? I was like, actually, I'm holding up all right. My knees are a little bit sore, but yeah, energy-wise, I'm fine. And then literally 2 seconds later, I just hit the wall. It was oh crap, I've still got 2 miles to go, and my energy just sapped out of me, and my knees were bad. And yeah, so I had to walk for about a mile. But yeah, we managed to get round.
I attempted to go for a run in the week, actually. It went spectacularly wrong. Yeah, I went through is it Calverley Park in Tunbridge Wells, the one opposite the train station. And my idea was to cut through to Dunallen Park, which is another very nice park in Tunbridge Wells.
I like that place. I highly recommend that place. Lovely fireworks.
Gorgeous, yeah.
I got my route wrong, and I ended up going round in a circle. So I ended up running for about 15 minutes and ended back exactly where I started.
Oh no!
That was quite upsetting, to say the least. If I'm being honest with you. Yeah, so after crying on the floor for about 5 minutes, I just kind of stumbled up the hill and wandered home as I would normally.
Aww.
So that's my running career.
Career in 15 minutes around a circle. That's pretty much more than mine, actually. So
Yeah, if it's Mo Farah, I'm no Farah. Dear.
Oh, I love your jokes, Lee.
I do.
Yeah, they're sometimes good. They're very hit and miss.
I miss your jokes on a daily basis. I really do.
My comic philosophy is, if you throw enough of something at a wall, some of it will stick.
Something, it's like silly Billy tax. If you throw silly Billy at a wall,
tax.
Silly Billy tax. Yeah. Speaking of which, work's picking up from my end. We're all busy again, so that's good.
Really?
So
fantastic.
The silly Billy taxes are being applied left, right, and centre, as far as I can tell. So that's good.
Are you working on anything interesting to note at the moment that you can talk about?
I'm really not. I'm working on migrating code, same as I was last week, and pretty much for the next 2-3 weeks. So I don't
over into Laravel 5 or 4 or whatever it is
Laravel
now.
5,
yeah. And did you hear about the new Laravel? Well, not Laravel.
Lumen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little micro framework.
Didn't he?
I've not heard of this.
Yeah, no. Next website I'm going to be given, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to see what's the. It's basically a lightweight Laravel, so it's like slim, but supposedly, in Taylor's words himself, amazingly fast. So I'll be amazed.
So and Taylor's made it, has he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is that it is a really interesting project because the benchmarks do say that it is considerably faster. But I think it kind of is great in the fact that he's definitely following like what Symfony have done with, you have Silex and then you also have Symfony. And, he's gone from so what the idea is, you have Lumen. Oh, hello. What happened there?
Hello. What's that? That was the weirdest noise ever.
So you have, Lumen, and so you start maybe a project in there and then you can easily migrate it over to Laravel. I hope that
he said that if you want to migrate your existing Laravel project, you can just plug it in and it will just work.
That's great.
Essentially, it's all the same. So.
I mean, I'm hoping that it is easier than Symfony's one with Silex, because sometimes you get into Silex and you kind of create this massive, weird structure when really you should have just used Symfony at the beginning. But
I'll be interested to see what's been kind of eliminated to kind of dumb it down like that, to make it into the micro framework, because it still uses Eloquent and all those things, and I guess you can plug in whatever you want, but I wonder what the major kind of things he's decided that it doesn't need out of the box or whatever to make it work so fast.
Well, maybe we have to try and get him on the podcast again, so he can talk about it.
Yeah. That's what
he listens regularly, so yeah.
Oh yeah, he's definitely hearing
Taylor.
it now,
Yeah.
He came on the show once. It was like woo woo.
I've been listening to a lot of Taylor Otwell's podcasts recently, and I like the guy. I like the way he speaks, and I like the kind of philosophy he has about his framework and stuff. So it's quite interesting, and I think we had a good show with him. It was good to have him on and stuff, and it would be good to have him back on this year. And
no, definitely. Have you heard about the listening parties he has as well? Like he has, I think every Wednesday or Thursday night, he gets everyone he knows around to his house and they have a couple of beers just to listen to our show. Like,
oh really?
Yeah.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah, so they all do some kind of worship kind of dance thing where they all just...
I think so, yeah.
Collectively.
Wow. I don't know why I don't believe this. It's really hard not believe this, isn't it?
No, it's definitely true.
It's definitely true. Oh, so anyway, so Lou, so what have you been up to this week then?
Well,
other than the moving of the things across and everything, like have you been doing any cool new technologies and more tutorials?
No, I'm all about the PHP. I've been building my own site, and I've got that pretty much made statically now. It's almost good to go. I've just got to decide what I want to do to put it live.
Yes, because this is the site that you've been designing yourself and everything. So we still need to see a static screenshot or something of it to.
I could provide some screenshots now. There's no doubt about that. But know how I always moan about clients not providing content.
Yeah,
you're finding it hard to generate your own content.
Content for my website. So my website is currently made but full of Latin text. So
it is really hard, isn't it? So how do you kind of promote yourself? And it's a tough one, isn't it?
It is, and it'll be good to get it live though. But it is there, and I'm quite happy with it and everything. So there'll be a blog. I'm looking forward to blogging again. It's I used to blog about golf, actually. I
know that blog. We did actually have it in the show notes, I think, because we went through a time when we were looking at Angel Fire websites, and that was for Mickey. Hat tip to Mickey, his band.
I want to write blogs. I want to write tutorial posts about just kind of things that I don't want to write ones that everyone else has written. I want to write about, hopefully try and if something unique has happened to me, which it does on a frequent basis, then I want to write about that. And
that's cool, man.
And stuff. Really so I've plugged in Discus and all those things that everyone uses for comments and stuff like we've got on our own.
Oh, it makes website. It so easy, and it's so great to be able, because you literally, you just plug it in, don't you? Really, it's a JavaScript library, and there's no back-end code, and it's just like, deal with it. You deal with comments now. I don't have to handle that.
Exactly. So now the next move for me is to start integrating Angular with some of the stuff that I'm doing. So
I'm intrigued to see how this goes, man. It's gonna be cool.
It's so fun. Did you see the tweet that I put out in the week? Greg, I can't remember his surname. Greg Pollock from Code School. His video about his route into programming.
No, that's interesting actually, because didn't we try and get him on the podcast, or was that a different?
Greg Pollock? No, I don't think. I can't. Well, maybe I don't. Not that I remember.
Oh no, I thought there was someone because I remember you talking about Code School or PHP.
No, no, that's PHP Academy. No, that's Alex Garrett. That's that's another one that we need to do this year. That's another one that for whatever reason didn't happen. But I know that he's enthusiastic and he's keen to do it.
That's awesome.
So it'd be good to start actually getting some guests back on the show, wouldn't it? Yeah. Who's the guy that you mentioned earlier on? Actually, I saw an email.
So we will hopefully. I'm in talks. I'm being pretty bad. This week has been pretty crazy, and also going on holiday doesn't help. But Adam Watham, he's developer, powerlifter, and Slayer fan on Twitter. He's been doing great stuff with Full Stack Radio.
Howard. Oh, the guy from Full Stack Radio.
Yes, actually, I messaged him.
That's going to be my next thing. I've listened to most of their shows this week.
It's great,
and I sent him a complimentary tweet as well. Yeah, no, that would be brilliant.
I asked him. Like I said, I kind of said, "Oh, do you want to fancy coming?" And he said, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Wow, okay, awesome." Like he's been doing some really great things with Full Stack Radio. Talked to some really interesting people.
Do you know what I admire apart from the fact that obviously how good the show is that. Every time he does it, it's just him on his own, so it's a one-on-one.
I have no idea how he does it. I don't know how he does it, though, really, because, it is one-on-one. It's just like, that is brave to be kind of, So I was thinking, it would be a great podcast we could have, talk about, how he got into everything, podcasting, and what his setup's like, etc. And so, it's going to be, hopefully that will happen soon. Obviously, I'm on holiday for a couple of weeks, but I'll get back to, get in contact with him and working it out.
I have a couple of questions for Mr. Hart, if that's okay.
Hello. Yeah, of course.
Hello. Well, first of all, can I just say, great job on the podcast last week, guys, because I listened to that. It was really good. And,
I can't even remember what we talked about last week. What did we talk about?
I think it was Ramble.
CMS. We talked about CMS at the end, didn't we? I remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan of you guys. You're really good.
Thanks,
but anyway,
thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
You're welcome on any time.
Oh, thanks. Cheers. I wanted to ask you how you're getting on with free.js or whatever it is.
D3.
Yeah, I've not actually touched it since, because my plan was to kind of spend a bit of time on it this week. This weekend. But then I had a bit of freelance work came through during the week, which kind of I was supposed to do this week, but I got involved in other things development-wise, so I've kind of put it on the back burner. But yeah, I've not got any further with it at all, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, actually talking about this, so what have you been up to this week then?
With my free, I got a freelance project that's been on the back burner for a little while, and that's come through. It's only a quick and simple CMS site. So I kind of started off the weekend yesterday, getting the project all set up and stuff, and then I was like, well, I need like a basic theme, because I'm using Silverstripe again, so obviously it needs to be designed as per the design. So I wanted to start off with HTML5 boilerplate, which is something that I do that every single time I build one of these sites. I kind of get HTML5 boilerplate and integrate it into a basic theme.
You put a GitHub tweet out, didn't you?
I have put a GitHub up, yeah. So I thought, well, every single time I do a project, I just build this thing from scratch. So why don't I just create it separately, stick it on GitHub, and then it's an hour and a half of my life that I don't have to worry about every time I get one of these projects, which I should have done a long time ago.
That then? What are you putting into that out of the box then?
What do you mean? What am I putting into it? It's basically it's just it's HTML5 boilerplate with all the Silverstripe basic tags in there,
Silverstripe specific stuff.
That's right, yeah, with the Silverstripe like content area and all this kind of stuff, and your navigation. So there's a standard navigation. There's no styling whatsoever. It's just got the normalized CSS that comes with HTML5 boilerplate. It pulls in jQuery by default, and it's just got a couple of Silverstripe specific tags like your base tag and all this kind of stuff. But every time I've had a project, I'll always start with a blank HTML5 boilerplate theme. So I thought, well, I might as well just make a blank, spend an extra half an hour putting this together and have it reusable, and chuck it up on GitHub, and then I've got it in future. So the idea was, once I did that, the idea was to get on and kind of bang the most of this freelance project out this weekend. But then I woke up this morning thinking, I've been talking about like making a game, so I should make a game this weekend, this morning. So I laid there in bed with my laptop on my lap at about 9 o'clock, and got my laptop out and started building this game. And then I've been doing that literally up until we started recording. So it's been a bit slack, yeah.
How's it going though?
It's going right. To be honest,
what is the game?
It's just a simple sideways scroll. You know, like the spaceship in a cave kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's sideways, like a 2D kind of 8-bit sideways scroller. So you're a spaceship, and then for some reason I've put beer in there. So you're going through the cave. You've got to dodge like asteroids or meteors or whatever you want to call them, and you've obviously got to not hit the top and bottom walls, and there's beers that you get for extra points and stuff like that. So it's very basic, but I just wanted to get something that I can chuck in the app stores, just so I've got some kind of, I don't know, foothold in there.
Put it in the app store then?
Yes, I will. Yeah, so it's all written in Fraser, which has been really simple because I've been working with that a lot at work. So I'm going to package it up with cocoon.js or cocoon.js.
So what is Cookie? Because I saw this, and what is this then?
I don't actually know, to be honest with you. All I know is that it's kind of something that operates in the cloud. You create your HTML5 app, and you create your HTML5 canvas game. You upload it to their server or their cloud, and then they give you links for an APK for Android.
Wow, that's cool.
APK. And so I think they do it for Android. I think even for BlackBerry.
Solid. I mean, there's a lot of people still using it. Well, I know one person still using a BlackBerry, and that's it. A touchscreen.
Exactly. When he loses
it's not Lou. It's not Lou. It's not Lou anymore. No. I found another person. Yes, there's still one exists.
Yeah. Who is this person? This fictitious person
Dave.
you're talking about?
Adam.
No, Dave's girlfriend. Actually does genuinely
really?
use a BlackBerry. Yeah. It's a very strange device. A touch BlackBerry doesn't feel right. The chiclet keys is what you need. The BlackBerry.
Yep.
But no, that's awesome, man. Yeah, so Cocoon. I mean, that's the great thing about these like online web services is you can kind of try them out, see if it works. If it doesn't, then you can work another route, and
Yep.
So it's written in Fraser.js, and like, so have you had to kind of think about how it will work on the Android device? Have you been able to test it on the Android device, or has it been?
Yeah, I've been able to test it. I can actually show you. I can get it on. Obviously, I can't show the listeners. But if I turn my video on briefly, basically, Cocoon's got an app that you can download to your phone, either your iPhone or your Android, and it just gives you an interface, so you can point it to your code that you've written. It'll wrap it up for you locally. So if you can see on there, you can
indeed.
Right, so my video's just frozen, I think. There we go. So I don't know what we're actually looking at here because.
Oh no! So, you see? Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah, so it's really easy.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, the idea is, I'm just going to get that. It's like you see, it's nothing fancy. The graphics are pretty horrible.
Nice.
So I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to make 8-bit graphics by turning chucking photographs into Photoshop and reducing the color profile to 8 colors just so it looks a little bit 8-bitty, and just chuck something up. It's not expecting to be good, but I reckon once it's done and I've got it live, I might put a little competition together for listeners of the show. So if whoever can get the highest score, I'll buy them a 3Devs t-shirt or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah. So it's only a little. Well, like I say, I've only spent 8 hours or so working on it. I say only. I spent 8 hours or so working on it today. And it's been, time's just flown by, and it's almost finished, to be honest. So I just need to put some sounds in it, and that should be all good.
I have a little something to show you. It's clean, don't worry.
Okay,
it's all good.
Nice change.
I'll say these things aren't really good for the listeners, but I'll put it in the show notes anyway. Ed's already clicked on it. I can see that. But yeah, I'll just put it in the Google Docs page, so you guys should be able to click it on there. But this was my uni assignment. And it is awful. And
the rendered image.png thing.
Yeah. So this assignment took me more hours than any other assignment that I've done since I've been there, and I'm fairly confident with the lowest mark that I've got since I've been there. But
is that done in Blender?
This was done in Blender. This is a rendered image that I've created from it. But I mean, you can see. I mean, I could spend all day telling you the error and stuff, but I lift my hat off to people who do this. I mean,
that's very cool.
The chair that you see, that took me 4 hours. It's really...
I like it.
But
I think it's awesome. And is the mirror a true reflection as well?
Yeah, it's a true reflection.
That's
you
cool,
rotated the screen round, it would. But obviously, that's not my doing. It's just like the algorithm that's built in. So they have called a ray tracing algorithm. Right. And it does it all for you. But I think the program's built in Python, actually.
Okay.
So what's backtrack a bit, Mick. What's going on here then? What is this?
So, like I say, my last module I did was I just wanted to do it because I wanted to do it. I didn't know anything about it, but computer graphics and animation. So basically, you learn a lot about 3D modeling, and the software, their choice is something called Blender, which is completely open source, which is incredible because it must have taken people years to make that. But anyway, so you create this 3D model. And then, as part of my assignment, I had to hand in the model, but also hand in a rendered image. And this is a rendered image. So
this is your first attempt, is it?
Yeah. Well, this is the one I handed in the end. I just ran out of time. But
it's amazing. I think that's brilliant.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really.
I think when you first look at it, it looks good, but it's like anything you delve into it, and it's not.
So what were you trying to depict here? Then this is a cafeteria room, like a cafeteria, American cafeteria.
We were given a picture of a diner, and then we had to replicate it as best as we can. So I can put the image we were supposed to do in the show notes as well.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That's good.
It's the kind of bar where one might sit in and squirt lemons in their eyes.
Yes.
That is a good example, yeah. But yeah, for anyone who just wants a break from programming, Blender's a good... And the video tutorials on there, on the Blender site, are fantastic.
That's really cool, man. No, it's really... I mean, as you say, how long you actually spend doing this is ridiculous.
But, probably the most fun I've had on an assignment. But you could spend years doing this, getting it right. But I'll tell you what I'll do for next week is I'll get links for some of because they have a Hall of Fame from of years projects. So I'll bring some on. But some of them you would not be able to tell them apart from a real photo. You really wouldn't. They're just spectacular. So
that is insane.
So are you putting together ideas for where you might move forward after your course with all this stuff you've been doing then, or?
Well, it certainly won't involve graphics and animation, put it that way. But I don't know. I mean, like I always said, I did the course because I wanted to do the course. But definitely, artificial intelligence is something that definitely really interests me. So, but getting a career in that, I don't know how easy that's going to be. So, yeah.
Way over my head.
By day. Well, you know what? It sounds like it is, but it's really not. It's just the kind of stuff that you do every single day, but just wrapped up in a different label and slightly different. But it's no more complex, put it that way. So, yeah.
So, Ed, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
It's been really good, man. Yeah, so this is like the last week wrapping up things for the holiday. 2 weeks off in the sun, woo woo. But yeah, so
have a good one and all that. Yeah, mean it. Yeah, have a good one. Yeah.
Do we know any famous developers out there that you can hook up with?
I'm sure we do.
They have a conference there, don't they? Like, I can't remember what it's called. Like Sunshine
PHP.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I'm down in Florida, and this week has been primarily just sorting everything out, getting everything shipped before leaving for 2 weeks. So what was I doing this week? So actually, I finished up ESI, like caching stuff. Last week I was talking about like varnish and stuff like that, which is really cool. Caching is really important and really hard and really, 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 really interesting. So ESI, EdSide includes, so, things like, caching something's easy if it's a full page thing. So, like caching something like, say, like a whole page of, maybe a blog, like my blog now I use Nginx for it, and I just say I'll cache this for, as ever long I want to cache it, and then I'll kill the cache and it's fine. But things such as like, say, partial caching, so say like, you have a full page, but there's a slight bit of it that is unique, to, maybe it's news. Maybe you don't want to cache the news, but you want to cache everything around it, for the whole day. But the news needs to be updated every 15 minutes or so. So things like ESI. ESI is a standard. It's EdgeSide includes. And what this does is say, okay, well, I'm going to have a cached version of this, but then it actually has HTML tags in it, in the actual cached version, which then go and do a lookup for something else. And then, so all you do there is it goes and finds the cached version, looks up, says, okay, these ESI, okay, I need to get this one. So it goes off, fetches that, injects it in, sends a response to the user, and it's lightning quick because obviously it's been cached. The reason why you cache something is because it's computationally expensive, or it's database expensive, or something like that. So I've been playing around with that varnish stuff. That's been going really well. And also I had an interesting little project where it brought me back to the agency work days of like, you had to whip out a quick admin section, and you're like, okay, we need an admin backend for this table representation. And that was kind of one of the things where we had a couple of competitions going on. They'd been able to do the front end stuff. That had all been brilliantly done, good schema, etc. And then we just needed an admin representation of that. And yeah, I just thought, okay, brilliant, let's get on with this. So, I was able to do it. Active Record is great for that type of thing. That's when it wins out, because, like the SQL, fluent SQL kind of things, like eloquent style queries, nice SQL abstraction. So easy to do these queries and so easy to be able to just whip up something quick. And it's just beautiful for that because, I didn't use the abstractions I used. I didn't actually, implement any concepts, that technically, it's really just all done in the controller. I mean, I would say it's not the nicest code if you want to expand upon it, but, this is kind of a tearaway, deletable code type thing like Greg Young talked about one of the talks I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, is the fact that, this is like something that gets the job done now. You can delete it and start again on something else if you need to, but you can easily go in there, look at the code. What he's actually doing is just, wrapping a couple of Active Record queries and just spitting them out to the user. So I was really, really impressed by that. And a couple of things actually with the caching things I didn't talk about last week was so actually analysing this data and stuff is actually quite hard because, like how can you analyse if, an improvement on your development box or say has, actually happened in the wild and is actually working, or what areas, if you've got a big site, what areas do you actually look at to, improve on? And, there's a couple of really good tools. One of them, New Relic. And New Relic is actually, there's a free version. I've set it up on my own server, and you just install it, and it actually just monitors the system, monitors your server. So it'll look at CPU, RAM, and stuff like that. Look at hard drive space. It also knows a lot about different frameworks and different programming languages and different web servers and stuff. So you're able then actually to look in and it will analyze, and it will actually tell you down to the SQL query that is slowing you down, or down to the bit of code that's slowing you down. So you can run this in the wild.
That sounds so helpful.
It is amazing, and it will tell you. And that, along with Datadog, because Datadog does some really good things with Varnish, I found them invaluable. We use them at work. I use them at home. I love it. New Relic, just have a look into it, install it. It's very simple. Apt-get, any package manager you want. They've got, binaries for it already pre-compiled. So, yeah, look into it. Really, 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 really good.
It's very heavily promoted. Whenever I log on to Twitter or Facebook or something, there's always New Relic, New Relic, New Relic. Everything.
Well, it's just such a good... it's just a simple way of... being able to just say, okay, well, please analyze the server and what's going on. And the free one, you only get 24 hours worth of logs, so you have to pay if you want more. But things like the SQL queries, being able to work out what actually happened, or error logs even. I know that they handle errors, so if you get errors, exception stuff, it will log those, and you could actually go back and see, oh, this is what it was like, at that time. So it saves you a lot of hassle with having to do logging yourself, and it allows you then to kind of look into it from a whole systems perspective as well, because maybe it wasn't the actual program that was causing the problem, it was your network card. The network card was down at that time, no wonder why the program didn't work, etc. And it really is a really, really valuable source of information. And that's the thing, like all these kind of all of these improvements, performance improvements, are based on like heuristics that, I know this because of the data I've already got. So it's a very data-driven type of thing where, like results, okay, it is quicker. This is quicker now because, this is what it used to look like, and this is what the server looks like now. And, you'll see like the processor, how quick things are, how many milliseconds it takes to get to the user. Another good thing actually with New Relic is not only does it does the server side, it also does the application side, actually the desktop side, the browser side. So when it goes through the wire, it will log that, saying it took this long to go from, in PHP, the request came in, PHP, etc. It then goes back out, to the wild, goes into the browser. In the browser, it actually also logs how long it took to actually, the age, any requests, rendering the DOM, painting the DOM, how long it took actually in the browser as well. So it will do everything. It will literally go from end to end, so you'll know how long this actually took the user. Because it's great, for us to say, oh, but it's really quick to go and use it, but then the actual HTML page has, say, a bajillion CSS files and images that are external assets that you can't log on that, you don't get a log from that, the data that you're actually looking at there. This actually does take into consideration that using JavaScript. And the great thing is actually the install that you actually have actually does inject automatically. I found if you view my source on my website, or you view source on a couple of websites, you'll notice it has like a New Relic, and what it is at the bottom of the top, it's just injected some JavaScript that handles that thing for you. So again, it's one of those things you just install and just look at when you need to.
Wow, that sounds cool.
That is awesome.
Kind of following on from that, I've got two kind of more things that I'd like to discuss. The first one is that Fraser, you went to a React.JS conference.
I wasn't a conference. It was a workshop kind of thing. It was really, really good. It was at the Skills Matter place in London.
Was it an introduction or
Skills Matter? Hang on, which one did you? Skills Matter?
Is that
the one in Old Street?
Yeah, just by Old Street. Yeah,
my office is
west of Old Street.
Yeah, my office is literally just there.
Oh, fantastic! But have you been there before?
I have. It's really good, isn't it?
It is really good, isn't it? Yeah, because they do quite a lot of free talks and free kind of introduction sessions and all this kind of stuff. So we went to, I think I mentioned we went to one at the Google campus a while back, a few weeks ago. And then one of the guys in the office came across this React.JS one, because we're always looking at kind of new, or wanting to look at new stuff to kind of make processes better and to make our products a lot more, or kind of keeping with the times as much as anything. So he came across this workshop. We all went along and kind of expecting it to be an introduction to React, but actually what happened, which was probably more useful to us anyway, we kind of turned up and the guy gave us an introduction. He said, okay, well, here's something that I've written in React.js. Basically, off you go and do it yourself. So he had the kind of the project was all set up on GitHub, and we just downloaded or kind of cloned the GitHub repo. And it was just it was a game called Game of Life or something like that. So it's
Conway's Game of Life, so cool.
Yeah, I couldn't quite work it out, but it was really good. So it was only like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it took like half an hour for him to kind of introduce everything and say, this is what you need to be building. And then, he just kind of sat there and you tried to work it out. So there was me and 3 other guys from the office. So we shared 2 laptops between the 4 of us. So we kind of like pair programmed our way. And we didn't get to the end result. But then again, I don't think anyone in the room got to the end result. But it was really interesting. It was a good way of, when you're kind of forced to learn something yourself. Yeah. I find that a lot more beneficial than...
What do you feel about... Because our work, we use React quite a lot now. And we're also trying to look into React Native. I'm just wondering what you feel about it, how weird and alien it sounds and stuff.
It looks really, because do you use JSX?
Yes.
With React?
Because
that to me is very strange. Yeah, because it's kind of... It looks a bit like... It's kind of the way of writing the JavaScript, isn't it?
It's a preprocessor for it. It helps make it more readable, because what you do, as you're saying, like you do have the virtual DOM. So when you're creating up these elements, really, you're not creating pure HTML. You're creating JavaScript objects that then get checked to see, and it will generate it itself. But
are they rivaling the things that kind of Angular are doing and the other JavaScript frameworks?
It's doing a completely different thing. It's like doing the opposite.
I wondered that. It's for a different purpose altogether then.
It's essentially just a layer of it, isn't it? Because you're only really getting the front end layer rather than the whole thing with Angular.
It's all about it's about the UI. It's about handling UI, and it's very cool. The way it's kind of idea is that what it says is that dealing with JavaScript and dealing with events and state is really hard. So why don't we just say, really have a state machine of saying like, okay, well, I'm in this state, it will look like this, and you don't have to deal with the fact of like, okay, now style none on this, and this should be this, and this should be this, CSS should be that. It just says, no, okay, these are the states it should be in. You handle what you need to do, and it has a very simple. You have your event goes into the root, goes into. I can't remember actually exactly, but it goes into this store, and then the store then generate these views that then have events again, and it is a very small, simple idea, very functional in a way that it's just. But obviously the cool bits of it are the React, the virtual DOM handling these kind of because rendering HTML and you're hitting the DOM in the browser is extremely expensive, so doing as little as possible. And they've been able to conquer that, and it's really, really interesting.
I love the whole concept of it. Actually, I think it's brilliant.
It's really interesting. That's the thing, and it was like going back to the JSX thing. It was very much a case of, hang on, this is weird. We're putting HTML in JavaScript. Well, I guess it's essentially XML in JavaScript, but then it felt a bit like you were going back, because that's obviously how people started doing it before all the abstractions.
So
and then
that's the funny thing about it, is they actually does kind of make you think, hang on a minute, you are coupling the view with the logic. And that kind of is where I get a bit weird about it, because I'm just like, but we're tying the view now to the logic, and people you think of it as components instead of these abstract, but a component is both the view and the logic, because on the Facebook pages they're saying like, this is component, okay, this is the message component, and that component has the view and the logic all in it at once and stuff, and it can handle what it needs to do. And it's a really, really interesting idea, and it's taken off really well because of it. It's been successful, and if it works, it works. So. It's this kind of pragmatic kind of way, though, me then being very Biblistic of the fact that, the view and the presentation layer and the data, the actual business logic and the data should be split, is very MVC kind of style thinking. Maybe this is the best way of doing it, with their way was thinking about components, and that's the way they want to abstract their problem.
Yeah.
Who have we actually... Mickey, have we talked about what you've been up to this week?
Is he here?
Yeah. I just kind of really interrupted with my uni assignment, didn't I? But I think I had a couple of things just to mention. Can I do my usual thing and just basically plug something I've not actually used?
Please do. It's been too long. It's been too long since you haven't... Is it Ghost Inspector? Have you still not used it?
Wow. Thanks for ruining it for me.
I'm sorry, but you spoke... Okay. Sorry.
It is Ghost Inspector, yeah. But
it is.
I thought,
but I
thought it looked really cool, and if I had time to use it, I definitely would. But I was plugging into you guys the other week, like Selenium IDE for Firefox.
Yes.
Basically, I think this is like a nicer version, because Selenium IDE whilst it is highly effective, isn't the most beautiful thing you'll ever play with. So, if anyone does use that, well, let me know how it is. That'd be great.
So you're getting our audience to look at and review products for us.
I figured that's how it works. Yeah. What is it, Luke? Basically, it's... so I don't know if you were on the pod or heard the pod where I was talking about Selenium IDE, which basically what it allows you to do... Well, Selenium, what it does is allows you to record what you're doing in the browser. So when you're testing something, it'll just rerun all those events that you've done. So you don't have to keep... Every time you want to test something, click this, click that, click this, and then see what the end result is. It will literally just watch what you're doing, and then you can rerun that test whenever you want. And I think Ghost Inspector is a similar thing, but it looks like it's got a nice...
This is front end or back end testing?
This is
functional
testing.
Front end. Yeah, it's front, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they're going through the
whole process. Obviously you can use Selenium. I was going to say, you can make your own PHP Selenium tests. You could write them out if you wanted to, but Selenium IDE gives you like an interface that sort of records what you're doing, and it's a much more sort of
very like
type
VBA style thing back in the day with macros. It's like, okay, I've got to click this, click that. No, I didn't click that. No.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to do it all again. Record this, classic VBA.
So I won't go into too much detail on that because obviously I've not used it. But
that is a classic Mickey Bud.
It's a classic, yeah. And the other thing I just popped in the show notes was just, obviously as part of my exam revision at the moment, I am revising AES and DES encryption algorithms. I say AES encryption algorithm. AES actually just means Advanced Encryption System. But the actual algorithm behind it is called the Rhein-Dahl algorithm.
Can you explain this to us? That'd be really cool.
Not really well. No, basically, I mean, for anyone who's into... okay, I'll give it my best shot, and I'll try to wrap up in a minute. Basically, if anyone who's interested in the field of cryptography, obviously it's been around for years and years and years, but the idea is that you've got two different things. You've got like data integrity, which obviously you want to make sure that if I send an email to Ed, the message that gets to Ed, he knows it's from me. So that's one thing. But also, you might want to stop other people from seeing that message. So they sound like two very similar things, but they're slightly different. So, and then obviously, there's so many different attempts to accomplish that. But the two kind of big systems or algorithms that have been around over the last sort of 20, 30 years are AES and DES. And as a continuation of DES, you've got triple DES, which is basically because it became insecure because of the key length, which is 56 bits. Basically what they did is just, you know what, we'll just encrypt it 3 times. And that was a way of overcoming the insecurity of it. But then obviously AES came along and is a much more secure version. But yeah, basically what I've put in the show notes is like, because I was struggling to get my head around it, is this like a Java, someone's modeled it up in Java to show how it's done. But with most of these algorithms, you've just got different, the two sort of like techniques they really use is confusion and diffusion. So I won't go into too much detail on those really, but basically...
What is confusion? Oh, I'm not sorry. This is me being geeky. I'm really interested now.
So confusion you could think of as going back to like some of the very, very primitive techniques where like the Caesar cipher where basically
rotation 13 and just rotating numbers.
Exactly. Whereas diffusion is a little bit more complex and it's a little bit more clever because it's harder to crack. And so certainly you've got things like, if you think like what they call like a stream cipher where you take this one long string and you sort of, I don't know, encrypt it one character at a time. Whereas with like diffusion, you have what you call like a block cipher where you take that string and then you make a block out of it. So you might like start a new line every 5 characters or something like that. So there's lots of different techniques. I'm not explaining this particularly well, but basically...
No, you are. Yeah, I'd say you are.
Well, with most things, basically, they've all got different characteristics and whatever
pros
they
and
do,
cons
they'll have...
And speed.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
exactly.
like, as you're saying, like with data integrity, things like MD5 work great for that. These hashing algorithms work great for, because as you say, like, it's like when you download a free, file from, like typically these websites, say, oh, download this file, and maybe they've added it to a couple of mirrors, and they're like, well, you can validate that this is the correct file that you've downloaded by, checksumming, your SHA-1 or MD5 with the one that the file generates. So
exactly.
That's great for that kind of integrity. But that definitely, people use MD5. MD5 was built because it was quick for these file file integrity, not for security.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, MD5 and SHA are both very interesting, and I know obviously MD5 isn't really, like you say, it's good for certain things, but you wouldn't trust it for other things. But I think the latest version of SHA is still good. I think I'm right in saying that, but I could be wrong. I might get slated for that. But I think last time I think the lecturer said the latest version of SHA is okay, but I might be wrong.
But this is the trouble with being like a security expert, is you're constantly paranoid. I think you have to be to be these type of profession.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're into this kind of field, you are very paranoid by your very nature, I think. So
that's awesome.
That's just a Java coded up version of AES. So it certainly helped me kind of understand. AES has 4 different stages, and you can kind of see the different 4 stages in the code that guy's done.
Sometimes it is nice seeing a coded version, isn't it? We're very much just codify it. Give me a code version. Don't give me a paragraph about describing it. I can just see some code, and I'll understand that far better than I would.
Absolutely,
even if someone explained it to me. It would probably be easier just looking at code.
Yeah, so I'm not going to bang on about that anymore, but I just put another link in the show notes. But just to let you know, this one's on DES, and it's a lecture it's like a German lecture, and it's like an hour and a half that I was watching today.
Cool. That's awesome, man.
But anyone who is interested in that field, give that a watch. It's pretty good.
I'm recording, so I was chatting. He doesn't
Hello.
think he's going to be able to...
I'm back. I'm back.
Fuck, no, I'm not recording.
I'm recording.
Oh, Ed, do you know I said I was recording?
Yeah, you weren't. That's cool. I'm back.
No, I wasn't. Perfect.
That's cool. I am back. I am back in track. Yeah, the internet. So, for the audience, you will have not heard anything wrong happen because I would have done some magic in Audacity. What actually happened was my internet went down well and truly. And it's well funny. Being in a house with a couple of other geeks, you realise when the internet goes down because everyone's just like, what the frick just happened? Yeah, they scream.
Evan's downloading saucy movies again. Is that what it was?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? We had to stop for a while because of the internet going down. I don't know why it actually went down. It's the simple case of, this is when I love when people say, how'd you fix it? Well, just turned it off and on. That genuinely is what I did with the router.
And he's gone again.
Magic, and it worked. Oh dear. So, gone again. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
I know. I
can hear you. Yeah. You just kept. It's maybe my internet that's messing up.
So, guys, I'm really sorry. So, what were we actually talking about? What were you talking about behind my back? It reminds me of the first episode. When I started talking, and then literally my router went down, and it was just like, yeah, Ed, so how'd you get into programming? Oh, that happened. Oh dear.
I think we all went off when you went off.
Oh, right, okay. And then Lewis? Hello, Lewis.
Lewis is gone.
Lewis, shall we say, right, that I'll edit this podcast and wrap it up? I think it's been
a great
pod.
Let's write this one off, yeah.
I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I expect a podcast out. I'm looking forward to a podcast next week. If you guys...
Should we do a little outro just that we can piece on this so it doesn't die?
Dude, this is going live. This recording this stuff. We might as well. This can go. Guys, who wants to say goodbye?
I've lost sound now.
Right. Well, I will say goodbye. Anyway, guys, it's been great podcast, great show. I'll see you in 2 weeks. I look forward to a podcast next week. If you guys can do one, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will enjoy the beaches. So it's going to be very hard for me.
And don't forget to enjoy the Celine Dion concert over there as well.
Yeah, actually, I have seen Celine Dion concert in Las Vegas before, so...
Have you?
Joke's on you. Yeah, that actually happened. Why did I have to tell you?
Amazing.
Goodbye, people.
All right. Bye.
You've been listening to 3 Devs and a Maybe. You can contact us at contact@3devsandamaybe.com or follow us on Twitter at 3 Devs and a Maybe.